into each other's eyes. Tired snowflakes are gone.
Welcome to the Bee's Business, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today's video is a part 2 that goes along with part 1 of the MZ Wallace series that is on my channel, where I go over all of these Smuttons or Small Suttons that I own, and I group them into color families and go over those colors with you so that you can see comparisons between the different shades. So in part 1 I went over the pinks and purples of the MZ Wallace Suttons that I own. I don't own every Sutton that's ever been made. That would be a little bit crazy. I do own a lot. And so of the ones that I own, I pull like colors together and do a little comparison for you, because my theory is that if you are viewing all of these bags in the same conditions, even though you can't be here in person, which is the best way to do color comparisons, seeing them through the same camera lens and the same lighting at the same time is the next best way to really get a good comparison of the colors. Today I'm focusing on the blue and green shades that I own in Small Suttons. If you missed part 1 where I compared pinks and purples, be sure to check that out. I will link it in the description box for you, but now let's go take a look at where I store all of those Suttons, because if you didn't see part 1, you're missing out on a very pretty scene of lots of Smuttons lined up nicely together.
Collapse into water when they hit the ground. I hear the
And yes, they
sound
continue back into the abyss there. I also explained in part 1 that this is not my forever closet. Here we go. We'll shed some light on those that are down in there. That's where my prints are kept and patterns. And then over here, I keep my solid colors and I arrange them in a rainbow order. And so I also said this in part 1. I think I have a Smutton in every rainbow color except orange. So MZ Wallace, I'm still looking at you. Really need that orange Sutton. I also talk in part 1 about how I choose to hang these, and these items that I have purchased to hang mine are linked in that video if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about that. So we are going to be pulling these guys right here to do a comparison today. I am bringing all of the pretties downstairs with me to a location in my house where I have some better lighting. Toward the end of this video, I did include several still shots that have up-close comparisons of the different colorways that we have going on here. So if you're interested in seeing those close-ups, be sure to hang out for them.
Yesterday has gone to sleep, so all that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only thing I see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me, and let our minds be caught up in a dream. Quiet voices in the night, and time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by, tries to carry all.
These are the 9 Suttons I'm going to focus on today, though I did grab a few other things out of my collection that have a lot of different blues in them, just to add to the comparisons we're going to do today. But let's chat about the names of these bags. Hunter Green, Pine, Ivy. I am a May baby, so when Ivy was released, I immediately had to own it. Over here on this side, we have Dawn at the top, Hyacinth, Estate Blue, Jade, Cloud, and Amethyst. And here in our bonus pile, we have Charter Stripe, Punch/Dawn combo, which you saw in my part 1 color comparison if you watched that, Zigzag, Shibori, and hiding under here is the Supergoop MZ Wallace collab in Dazzle. Let's start off with the green shades. I feel like this is a cooler green, Hunter Green. Pine is a warmer green, and then Ivy is just a bright, beautiful, bold green. They do have some different hardware colors. They actually all three have different hardware colors. So Hunter Green has silver hardware. Pine has a pretty vibrant gold. And then Ivy has a brushed gold. Here's their hardware all together so you can really see the difference between this solid gold and this more muted gold tone. I am a very big fan of this shade of gold. It took me a long time to be okay with gold on my bags, and this is just a very, I don't want to say harsh because that sounds negative, but it is a very intense gold. So I do prefer I think they call this their brushed gold. I do prefer that shade or silver hardware. Ivy comes as a Sutton Deluxe because it is their newest shade of green in a Small Sutton. And then both Pine and Hunter Green are available in the original. And I shouldn't, I guess, say available if you find them on the BST or for sale on like eBay or Mercari or something, because they are not actually available for purchase in stores any longer. And I'm not sure that Ivy is either, though it is a newer release, newer as in the last year. I don't know if there are any retailers that still have it in stock, but it is newer, so probably easier to find than Pine or Hunter.
The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear.
You can tell from the leather on the handles which one has had the longest life, and that would be Pine. That leather is quite patinaed. I find it beautiful. I think that some people prefer less patina, which is what you see here with the Ivy because it is newer and hasn't been carried by me as much. But I just love their leather in any tone, whether it's not super patinaed or patinaed. Either way, I find it beautiful. Here's a closer shot of Dawn, Hyacinth, Estate Blue, Jade, Cloud, and Amethyst. I find all of these to be a very different shade from one another, so I don't typically get any of these ones mixed up with each other or confused. I will say, however, that when I purchased Hyacinth, I actually ended up purchasing two Hyacinths because one of them I thought was Dazzle. I was happy to grab this Supergoop MZ Wallace collab in Dazzle so that I could see the difference between Hyacinth and Dazzle. So this seems like an important color comparison to me. I ended up selling off one of my Hyacinths because I had two Hyacinths and no Dazzle like I thought I did. To the naked eye, I would say that these look a little bit closer in color, but here on camera under this, I do have pretty bright lighting in the room that I'm in. So under this lighting, you can really see a difference in these two shades. And Hyacinth is a darker blue than Dazzle. They do both have silver hardware, which is one of the other reasons why I think it's easy to get them mixed up. But they are really a very different blue, in my opinion. Here's a color comparison of Hyacinth and Estate Blue, and I will add in Dazzle for reference. When I bought Estate Blue, I ended up purchasing two Estate Blues as well because I thought one was Tahiti, as did the seller, and it was an honest mistake because I believe that Tahiti and Estate Blue are pretty similar in shades. I don't own anything in Tahiti, so unfortunately I can't give you a color comparison of that with these shades, but I sold off one of my Estate Blues because while it's a very beautiful shade, I did not need to. Throwing Jade into the mix here. So again, Hyacinth, Estate Blue, Jade, Dazzle. They're all just such a different shade, and so there are quite a few shades of blue that MZ Wallace has created, but I feel like they're all so different from each other, so it doesn't feel like there are any repeats or unnecessary shades. Throwing Cloud into the mix now. Cloud is a very pale blue. It almost throws gray vibes when it is near Magnet or other mist, other gray neutral shades by MZ Wallace. When I do my neutrals comparison, I'll probably pull Cloud out because I do feel like it feels like a neutral depending on what it's paired with. Cloud is probably one of my most loved Small Suttons. She is very patinaed. I use leather honey, I think it's leather honey, which I find on Amazon to put on the leather of my bags to kind of keep them from drying out or getting too hard. I do wash my bags in the washing machine if they need it. I try not to do it all the time, but when I have a bag that is stained or dirty, I will throw it in the wash. I typically put it in a laundry bag and I do not put it through the dryer. And I haven't noticed after single washes that there's been any real change to the leather, but with one that came to me more well loved and then I washed it when I received it, such as Cloud, the leather does get this really stiff, dry feeling, and that leather honey helps it a lot to just keep the integrity of the leather. So there is that comparison. Adding in Amethyst now. Amethyst is a bit of a chameleon. When it's here with all these blues, it kind of throws a bit of a blue vibe. It also can appear black. It can also appear to be a dark purple shade. When I bring in Dawn and I put it next to Dawn, you can see that it now looks like it really has more of a purple shade than Dawn. So I'm not totally convinced that it belongs in this comparison with all the blues, but I figured I would just add it in because sometimes when I look at it and carry it, I am like, oh, is it throwing a blue shade? So what is your opinion? Do you feel like it has any blue shades to it, or meshed in with all these blue colors, do you feel like it is more of a purple? The hardware on the majority of these blue shades is silver. In fact, all of the ones that I'm showing you here have silver hardware except for Jade, which has that vibrant gold color like pine. I'm going to add Punch/Dawn into the mix so you can see the comparison between the actual Dawn and the Dawn that's paired with Punch. I would say that they are the same color. It's a little bit deceiving here, I think, because there's that lighter blue stitching that is in the Punch and Dawn combo, and I think that makes the actual fabric appear a little bit different. To my eyes, when I'm not looking through my camera, they really seem almost the same. Maybe there's a hair difference, but I would say that these Dawn colors are both Dawn. Maybe it's just like a lot situation going on. I don't think they're meant to be different shades though. And now adding in Charter Stripe with Punch Dawn and Dawn. I feel like this one is a different color than Dawn. I don't know what you would call this blue. It feels very shiny to me. I don't think I've noticed how shiny this one looks, but I've also not had it under such bright lighting. So let me move it next to Dawn so you can see what I mean about, I just feel like those blues are different. I think I used to believe that they were the same, but here I am doing this color comparison and realizing that I think that was a misconception. So I don't know exactly what shade you'd call this, but it doesn't feel like it's the same as Dawn. And then there's the Punch again, so you can see Dawn, Charter Stripe, Punch/Dawn, and this one just really does feel like a different blue. I'm going to throw Shibori into the mix now. I have this one in a micro Sutton, and I don't know, I feel like this coloring in here is Dawn. That seems to be like Dawn to me. It almost looks black. I don't think it really is black. I think it is Dawn. And for the lighter blues, oh no, that's not the same as Hyacinth. It's not quite the same as Dazzle. So I think this lighter blue is just its own shade, or a shade that I don't own. And also, Shibori has silver hardware. And lastly, adding Zigzag to the mix. This one has multiple shades of blue. I would lean toward this being Dawn, but let's really compare. I think that there are Dawn elements in there, but that it's not. I think this is more of a varied shade. I don't want to say variegated because that applies to plants, but maybe it applies here too. I feel like, anyway, that it's not quite Dawn. It has some Dawn-like vibes, but it's not quite Dawn. And I'm looking at this Zigzag now and wondering, I would not say that that's Dazzle. What about Hyacinth? I would not say that that's Hyacinth either. I don't think it's a State Blue, but it is a little closer to a State Blue, maybe. And I also feel like Cloud is going to be similar to this lighter Zigzag here. Similar, but definitely pretty different. So, Zigzag has a lot of its own shades of blue too. So here's Hyacinth, Estate Blue, and Cloud in comparison with the different blue shades that are in the Zigzag pattern. Zigzag is a pattern that has silver hardware too. There you have it, the color comparison of all of the blue and green shades that I own by MZ Wallace. Hunter Green, Pine, Ivy, Jade, Amethyst, Punch/Dawn, Charter Stripe, Dawn, Supergoop MZ Wallace collab in Dazzle, Shibori, Zigzag, Estate Blue, Hyacinth, and Cloud. If there are any other ways that you want me to compare this crew of colors, let me know and I would be happy to help with that. It's absolutely crazy to me that there are quite a few other shades of blue and a couple other shades of green that I don't even own any of by MZ Wallace. Just goes to show you what a variety of hues and shades they offer. Really something to fit everyone's desires, I feel like. If you were looking for a new workout strategy, 12 Suttons on one arm, great workout. Great workout. You can't even see my arm in there. There's my fingers. Oh my gosh, they're so heavy. Whew. Upstairs we go with the pretties. The pretties have arrived home. It's crazy that I have 12 of them on my arm, and my closet space still looks that full of Suttons. For joining me today as we looked at the MZ Wallace collection once again and did some comparisons of all of the blue and green shades that I own. This is part 2 of I'm not sure how many in comparing colors by MZ Wallace. In part 1 I compared pinks and purples, and next I'm thinking we may go on to yellows and reds, and then neutrals, and then prints. There are at least 3 more installments to this series of print comparisons. If you didn't get a chance to check out part 1, I will have the link in the description box for you, so you can go ahead and do that. Thank you again for joining me. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!